So, as I said, and I will repeat myself, we're going to be drawing with perspective using rulers, and that's how we're going to turn squares into cubes and circles into tubes and triangles into triangular prisms and all of that. But we're going to do the portion of it with rulers next week. So make sure you bring rulers on Monday of next week. I will repeat this again and again and again and again. If you do not get a ruler, there are little cheats. I've used cardboard, I've used the edge of a book, I've folded up a piece of paper like 4 times so that I have a nice straight edge. There are ways around this. Okay, but in the meantime, we're just going to be drawing shapes from our imagination, just freehand drawing like we did with the other shapes. The circle turned into a sphere, the triangle turned into a cone. And I think we'll do just fine. I trust all of you. Again, these don't have to be perfect. So a couple of things. We'll start with the square. I am drawing with crayon. I like drawing with crayon. You guys will probably be drawing with pencil. Okay, it's easier for you guys to see it. It registers better if I do it with crayon, and I trust myself. Okay, you could use one of your pencils, obviously. I could use a 3B, but it doesn't show up quite as dark. Okay, so I'll just keep going with the crayon. I have a square. All the sides are even, correct? And even if you did a rectangle, you can make a rectangular prism and it's the same story. I'll show you both, okay? So some people have these like little tricks that they do for drawing cubes. I don't even, it's so intuitive for me to draw them that I don't even really know how to do it anymore, but one of the ways is you just draw these little connective lines. Some people I've seen will draw like a square here and a smaller square behind it, like that, and then you connect them. You connect corner to corner, like that. And oh, look at that, you've got this cube, which is cool. Like, that's a neat little party trick. But the purpose of learning how to properly draw shapes, especially cubes, because they have like geometric proportions that have to stay exact, that's when we're going to learn how to use perspective drawing. I'm just going to do like the quickest little drawing of that so that you guys kind of have a preview of what's coming next week. This is a box or a cube in 1-point perspective. I would erase that dark line down there, and then I have this little box that you're kind of looking at from below. And if I were to draw the box from, let's say, the side, this is called a horizon line, and then this is a vanishing point. And then I would draw my square like that, and I would draw these little vanishing point lines, shmoop, and then I would bisect it here, bisect it there, and that way I have this whole properly mapped out, proportionately correct looking cube or rectangular prism, if that's what you're going for. And obviously, if you were drawing with pencil, you would just erase all that. I'm drawing with crayon, so I'm just filling in the background. Chugga, 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 chugga. Go crazy. Yeah. Okay, you get the basic idea. Okay, and with a rectangular prism, it's the same deal, right? You have these lines that vanish behind it. They come on the top, and they go back in the side, and they connect corner to corner. If you're really getting confused, just look at a box. Look at any box lying around your room and try to copy what you see. Okay, and these don't have to be perfect or exact today. That's not really the point. The point is to kind of take a look at the shape, get used to drawing that shape or studying that shape, and notice where the shadows fall. Okay, so if I were looking at a box, maybe the shadow is falling on this side. And this side is lit up. Maybe the sun is coming in on that side. Maybe it's coming from down below. So maybe the top portion of it is also shaded because maybe it's dark up there too. And this is again where it would help for you guys to look at a box in your own room or your own house or your car or your studio and just kind of get some practice noticing where does the light hit and where do shadows stick out. Okay, so that's how you would do a cube. And then a circle into a tube I'll do on a different page. So I have a circle here, and then I draw a smaller circle behind it. And then I go to the top edge of the circle and the bottom edge of the circle, the middlemost and the widest, right? This isn't as wide as this point to this point, right? If you're looking at a circle, it's pretty easy to tell where the widest part of the circle is. It's not here. It's not here. It's right down the middle. Okay, so here's my widest point. There's my widest point. And then we do the same thing on the back. There's my widest point. There's my widest point. And I would connect the lines between this widest point and that widest point. This widest point and this widest point. Okay, now that I have this super crazy marked up circle, I'll do a little cleaner one. So I have my big circle, and then I have my smaller circle behind it. And this is also something you'll be able to do using that point perspective with the horizon line and the vanishing points. But just to give you guys the general idea and the practice of how to draw these, we'll just stick with this kind of simple party trick way of doing it. Okay, widest point, widest point, widest point, widest point. Connecting them with a line, connecting them with a line. Okay, and if you didn't want your circle to look like transparent like this, maybe you want it to look like a paper towel or a toilet paper tube, you can go ahead and erase this line back here. I obviously can't erase it because it's crayon, but you can imagine if that line wasn't there, and I won't make you imagine it, I'm just going to draw it for you. Circle, circle, line connecting the widest part, line connecting to the widest part. I emphasize the part I want to keep, and I erase the part I don't. Okay, and that's how you get a cylinder. Then to shade a cylinder, this is again where it would help if you were looking at one, but you determine one side that's going to have shadow and one side where the light's going to come in. So we'll just say that the light's coming from down below. Maybe the toilet paper tube sitting on top of, I don't know, on top of your refrigerator. Still, the light would be above you. Either way, let's just pretend our lamp is coming down. Coming from down, looking up. Okay, so you have one side that's getting hit by the light, which would be here, keeping it light. And then the middle, which is the darkest. And again, you can start off with like a little straight line, like just a little river of darkness. But eventually, when you're shading, you want to make sure that the shadow represents the shape. So what I mean by that, right now you can see I'm making these kind of curvy lines with my pencil so that I'm creating a shadow that has some curve to it, right? Because this object is curving. We're trying to create the illusion that we have a curved tubular object, right? So I want to make sure that my shading lines represent that. Okay, and on a cylinder, the weird thing about cylinders is that they have this thing called reflective light. So it's darkest in the middle because there should be light coming back and hitting this edge. And we'll go into that a little bit more later when we go over cloth studies. Cylinders come into play a lot there. But this is just a really great simple way to get you started thinking about those shapes and those shadows and those highlights. All right, your turn. Cylinders and cubes. Have fun.